Welcome out there, family, to another edition of The Page Turner. I'm your host, Nate Turner, and I am here so we can write your next chapter together. I got on my money tie today, y'all, because we're going to talk a little bit about it. Not the tie, though. I'm going to talk about money. Now, I got to preface this by telling you that I'm not a certified financial expert, and nothing I share with you about money is a guarantee of anything. What I am is a business owner and an IT professional of more than 20 years, but I just love sharing with people what I know about money. I could literally do that all day long, and it's one of the pillars of really what this podcast is really all about. So, I'm talking to a colleague of mine about money markets, right? And now, I'm just talking about how I have to take advantage of the market going down due to the pandemic by doing more trading in the market. While in contrast, she's discussing the losses in her 401k and how she's moving out of the market. So she goes on to say that she looked in her 401k account, right? And she lost over $100,000. And she was pulling her money out of the market, right? Now, she didn't elaborate on what exactly she meant by pulling her money out, but I still had to throw a flag on the play. I mean, knowing the general rule of stock market investing, and really that's to buy low and sell high, I say to her, I was like, well, if it's your long-term investment account and it's already going down, you might consider just giving it time to come back up again. She's like, nah, I've done this before. And she goes on to just really explain to me how she timed the market in the past by getting out before things go south and then getting back in at a certain point after things are looking up. And I said, well, that's actually a good strategy, but it's very difficult to time the market. And so while I can't really give you investment advice, if your investment account is down over $100,000, you'll essentially lock in your losses when you pull out at this time. And when I use the term lock in your losses, it means when you buy into an investment in your portfolio, right? The value of that investment can just go up or down for as long as you own it. Could take, months, years, however long you own it. But the price at which you sell it determines your actual profit or loss. So for example, let's say you bought 100 shares of Walmart at $100 a share. So you've bought into the stock, and that's 100 shares of Walmart at $100 a share. Then that's a total cost of $10,000. So now the price of Walmart stock, let's say that it drops from $100 a share down to $50 a share. So now instead of $10,000, your account shows you have a value of $5,000 in your account. But have you lost $5,000 though? Well, not necessarily. See, if you sell the 100 shares of your stock at $50 a share, then yes, you've locked in your losses at $50 a share. But if you hold on to the stock, and then let's say Walmart announces that they've purchased Amazon. Now, who knows, whatever. So your stock could increase to $3,000 per share, making your $10,000 investment now worth $300,000. Now, the same applies here, though, because the only way that you really actually make $300,000 is that you sell your stock at that price. So let's just go on back to the 401k. And now keep in mind that a 401k is a slightly different asset than an individual stock. And I'm gonna get some financial experts on with me just on one of my next podcasts to discuss money with me further. But I just simply love helping people turn the page on creating wealth where they had no idea on how to get started in the first place. So the next time I see my colleague, right, now it's July, is this month, 2020. And she says to me, she says these words, she says, Nate, you were right. Now, if you ever know that you're right about a not so good situation and you kind of want to be right, but you don't really want to be so right that you make the other person feel too bad. Well, anyway, I chalked it up to how my son phrased, something the other day in one of his talks. He said, we should call our failures lessons. So she says, Nate, you were right. I started to get my money back in, and then I realized what you were trying to tell me a few months ago. Now, the important thing is that it was a great lesson to know for someone who has a 401k and thinks that all hope is lost when it looks like the value has decreased and you start pulling money this way or that way. Now, you may be already participating in a 401k at work. If not, do you have any goals for retirement? You could be young, just starting out, and let's say you missed 10 years worth of investing because you think you still have time to start. Just kind of waiting around and thinking that, you still got time. You got a little bit of time. You could be getting older, right? Just feel like you've waited too late to even consider it. So you just resort to say, well, you'll just work forever, right? But look, doesn't matter how young you are, doesn't matter how many years you let go by, a 401k may still actually meet your goals for retirement. But you have to remember that it requires you to do a little work to make sure you get the most out of it, right? So most 401k plans offer a variety of funds from which you can choose. But which ones are the best for you? See, when building your asset portfolio, you have to consider three things: your risk tolerance, your timeline, and your ultimate goals, okay? So research the funds, decide which ones are the best for you, and then actively update your choices if those funds are no longer performing well. I remember once I increased my 401k rate of return from 3% up to more than 21% just by updating a few fund choices that were performing different than what the prospectus has shown. So really just always stay ahead of the game when it comes to your money, right? Do you have a savings account? Do you actually put anything in the savings account? I mean, it's very important when we get to the habit of paying ourselves on a regular basis. That's really what we got to do, is pay ourselves first. Because if we don't pay ourselves, we go through life always complaining about work and how we never have enough. Now, if after you pay yourself, you realize you don't have enough money left to cover your expenses, then you need to be making moves to increase your cash flow. Money is only an idea. I mean, look around. I look around and I just see people using their gift to do all sorts of things, create baskets, come up with apparel, create all sorts of products that generate additional income. What can you do? I mean, think about that for a second. What can you do? Now, if you tell me nothing or you don't know, then that's because you haven't really taken any time to think about it. So when this show is over, I want you to think about it. Okay? All right. So if you're ever going to turn the page and write a new chapter, then it has to start today. And if you need help getting started, just reach out and let me know. So get your 401k. Just get your 401k. Actively research and update the funds in your 401k. If that option is available to you. If not, tell your plan administrator to get more options. Get your savings account. Pay yourself. use your brain, increase your cash flow, and let's all turn the page and write a new chapter together. This is Nate Turner with another edition of the Page Turner. Let's go!